I think last class we had seen the order guide, the steps and the cascade variables, two-step, right? Rule base as well. So today we'll see a small use case. Okay. I hope my screen is visible, right? Create an order guide. Name as name test order guide, right? Variables, say variable name is what type of request. It should be a choice, or you can say drop down variable. Drop down variable. And what are the drop down values? You can say something like this. Maintain items, say Windows Server, replace printer owner, so these are the variables. So these are the choices of the variable. Now, each choice should be linked to the catalog. Each choice should be linked to the catalog item. So link this choice so link to the item. Link to the item. Link to the item. Right. So this is what the requirement is. Generally, the order guides will be created and linked this way to the choices of a variable on the order guide. So let's try creating this. Everybody clear? So each choice should be linked to the catalog item. So when user selects this particular any of the choice, then the item should get opened so that he can place the order. Right? Now let's try this. Go to order guide, So click on new. So what is the name of the order guide? Test order guide. See, test order guide. Save it. Create the variable. Click on new. Say select box to create the choice variable, drop down variable. Make it mandatory. Say the variable name is what type of request. Save. Now create the choices. So create the choices for this variable. So first choice is this. Save. Second choice. Third choice. Insert and stay. Fourth choice. Right. Insert and stay. Go to the order guide. Then place category, right? Place a category. Say software. Save. Duplicate. So go to request something. Software. So load more items. So this is our order guide, right? Click on this. So let's add default value as none here for this variable. Default value is include none. Save. Right. So this is the drop down variable, mandatory variable, and we have created these choices. Up till now, is it clear? Everybody? Clear? Any doubts?
No, sir.
Now we need to link each option, each choice to the catalog item. So go to the rule base. So in the order guide, go to the rule base related list. So add the items here. Which all items you want to include, add them here. So here we are creating a new rule base here for this item. So include this item in this field this particular field, add the required items one by one. So first is replace printer toner item. Add it here. Okay. So at which position? I want to have it in first position. Okay. And next, save it. So for which case you want to, for which option you want to link this, you want to show this item. So you have to add the condition here. Okay. For which case you want to show this item on the order guide. So when you're selecting variable as replace printer toner, when you're selecting this option, then you're supposed to show this item. So add the condition here. Say what type of request. So these are all the variables on this order guide. So what type of request is, so replace printer toner. Only when this condition is, only when this option is selected on this variable, this item will be routed to. Okay, save it. Getting it. So now next, go to the order guide again. So this is the first item that we linked. Next, add second item. So this is the second item. Add it. Include this item under which condition? So when you're selecting the variable, what type of request has reboot Windows Server. So for this option, we want to show this particular item. Getting it? So that is the second item linked. Next, similarly link other two. Click on new. So what is the third item? So this item. Copy. Right. So add the item here. Say what type of request is Samsung Galaxy, third position. Save. What is fourth one? This item, right? Copy. So select the option, iPhone 6s, option, position 4, say insert and stay. Getting it? Now we created the rule base for the order guide. Clear up here? Everybody clear? So go to the item. So now we can see what type of request I'm selecting. Reboot to Windows Server. I selected this and clicked on next. Okay, currently we are in describe needs section. Click on next. So you see here, reboot Windows Server item is linked here. Does it have any variables? Open this, click on this. Open this particular item. Does it have any variables? So this one, right? It's not an item, it's a template actually. It's a template. So let's not use this. It's not an item. Start. Just go to previous. Select any other. Replace printer. I think this is also a template, I believe. Open it. Yeah, here, this is also a template. They're not items, okay? They're templates. Go to Samsung Galaxy. So it should be an item. So this is an item. Okay. You can see the item details here and you can click on next. So you can place the order here. Click on order now. So that through this order grid, you're placing an order to the Samsung Galaxy. It has multiple items, but based upon choice that you're selecting, this item is being ordered. Getting it? So go to, so other two options, you can link to any other items. So I have linked to the templates, but templates should not be used. You can link to any other catalog items. Say IP iPhone 6s. Click on next. Expand. So this is the item and these are all the item variables. Click on next. Order now. Check out. So this is a request created and request will be associated with RITM and then catalog items. As usual, normal workflow. So these days, the order gates are built in this way. So they're creating a drop-down choice. So the requirements are coming up like this. On the order guide, create a variable like this. It should be a drop-down variable. Link each drop-down choice to an item so that user can select any of this drop-down choice based upon the need and they can order the item. Getting it? So that's one process that is currently being followed in the projects on the order guides. Right? So with this, we are good with the order guides. Let's go to another concept called record producers. So all these things come under development, okay? Building the catalog item, building the workflow, building the order guide, understanding the variables, variable sets, rule base, everything comes under development. Okay. So record producer. Any doubts so far? Anybody? Everybody clear? Alivelu, Murali, Deepika, Shivshankar, Kavita. Understanding?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So record producer is similar to the catalog items, using which end user can create tickets on task extended tables and custom tables through end users portal. So record producer, basically it is similar to the catalog item. And so user can log into the service portal or end users portal, and they can place the request, like how they place the request through catalog item. So through record producer also, end user can create tickets through service portal. But here, the end request will be created or end ticket will be created on task extended tables or custom tables. Okay. So the ticket, so for the request, we had seen, for the catalog item, we had seen the end request is creating on SA_request table. And the request is associated to the requested item, that is RITM. And then RITM is associated with the catalog task. Whereas here in the record producers, the end request is not created on the request table. End ticket is created on a custom table or task extended tables. Right. So it could be, the end ticket could be on incident table. End ticket could be on problem table. End ticket could be on some change table. Okay. So it could be any table. Okay. But it will not be on the request table, but not on request table. Right. So now we can see an example here. So go to the portal. Right. Go to the portal. So on this request something, you have category called can we help you? Click on this. So you see here, create incident. Click on this. So this is similar to the catalog. It has title, it has short description, and then variables, right? And once you click on submit, right? Once you click on submit after filling the variables, the ticket will be created on incident table, not on request table. So verify. Click on submit. See here, ticket is created on INC, incident table. Getting it? It's not on request table. So now end user. So I'm not an end user, but any end user who logs into the service portal, they can use this create incident record producer. Okay. So this is a record producer, okay, create incident. So they can use this record producer through which they can create tickets on the tables. They need not log into ServiceNow in the backend and they can create manually. They need not do that. They can go to the portal, they can raise a ticket on the incident table. So why record producers? Record producers are basically used to raise a request on the backend tables here. Users may not have access to incident table. All the users may not have access to the incident table. All the users may not have access to the incident table to create tickets. But the access can be given for the users to create incident tickets through service portal. That is through record producers. End users will be given access to create incident tickets through a record producer. So record producer will act as an intermediate between the user and the backend tables. Not only incident table, any task extended table will be able to create tickets through a record producer. If there is a record producer already present, end user can make use of that record producer fill out the variables and click on submit so that ticket gets created in that task extended table. Getting it? So here is the configuration. So type record producers. Right? Click on this record producers. So these are all the existing record producers in the system. Okay. So you see here, every record producer is a record here. So we have used, so this record producer from the portal, create incident. So this is a record producer that we have seen in the portal and using which we created incident ticket. Right? So now observe carefully. So this is similar to the catalog item configuration. So this is the name of the record producer. Here we need to select the table name. So on which table the record should be created, end request should be created, on which table. So select the table name. So here it is selected as incident. So whenever you are raising a request through create incident record producer, the end ticket will be created on incident table. And this is a short description, detailed description of this record producer. Right? So this is called entitlement script. Okay. So the script which does some validation on this create incident record producer. And you see the variables here. So all the other things are similar. Variables, variable sets, UI policies, everything will be similar to the catalog items. Okay. Now, so, but here, one thing. So we created the incident, correct? So we created this incident through the record producer. Open this incident from the global search. Right. So this is the incident which got created from the portal. Now observe carefully here. We entered urgency as medium. So we entered urgency as medium, and I entered this. Please describe your issue as test, right? So now these are the variables, and these are the fields on the incident table, correct? So these are the variables, and these are the fields on the incident table. Now observe carefully on this incident ticket. I can see urgency is populated here to medium. Short description, and also can see comments are also added here. So as soon as I created this incident ticket through service portal, I see the data from these variables are flowing to the fields on the incident table. And as soon as I created incident record, I see the values from the variables is passed on to the fields of the incident ticket. Now urgency data is flowing to the urgency field. And then other variable, second variable data is flowing to the comments and also the short description and description. Getting it? That means there is some mapping across variables and the fields. There is some field mapping across variables and fields on the record producer. Record producers. So there is a variable to field mapping on the record producers. Now, Where is that mapping present? Clear up till now, everybody? Please ask me if you have any questions. Understanding?
Yes, sir.
Now, where is that mapping here? So on these variables for the record producers, so open the first variable. So on this variable, so this is a urgency variable. So this is urgency variable. Now you can see there is a checkbox here, map to field. Okay. So when you check this to true, you will see a field appearing here, and you can select the field here. You can select the field here. These are all the fields from the incident table. That means this variable is now mapped to this field on the incident. This variable is now mapped onto the field on the incident, urgency field. Getting it? So whenever you check this to true, whenever you check this to true, then only this field will appear, and then you can select the field to which field you want to map to this variable. Getting it? So that's the map to field. So here is the mapping across the variable to field. So if there is no mapping, then data will not flow from variable to the field. So in case of catalog items, we are not using this map to field. But in case of record producers, we'll be using this. Clear? Everybody?
Yes, sir.
So likewise, other variables, like please describe your issue below. So second variable, it is mapped to the additional comments field. So that's the reason, if you go to the incident record, see, additional comments, whatever the data you entered on the second variable, that is mapped to the additional comments here. So that is nothing but here to this additional comments. So when now this is a journal field, when now you add some input into the journal field, that will be added into the activities. Getting it? So this is how you can see the variable to field mapping. So interview questions here. What are the differences between the catalog items and the record producers? Anybody? Anybody? You already learned catalog items, right? And we understood record producers. So what are the differences you found? So let's hear from Alivelu. Alivelu, are you there? Murali? Please unmute. Sai Deepika?
Yes, sir.
Right. What are the differences you found across the catalog item and record producers? Sai Deepika?
Yes, sir.
Anybody can answer. I need not ask somebody. Anybody can answer. All right. So the differences that you can see here are, so in case of catalog items, in cat items, the end request is created on request table. Whereas in record producers, the end request created on task extended tables. Right, so this is the first difference. In catalog items, there is no variable to field mapping. Whereas in record producers, there is a variable to field mapping. Right. So that's the second difference. In cat items, there is a workflow which takes care of request fulfillment. Whereas in case of record producers, the scripts configured on the target table will take care of processing ticket. So there is no workflow here in the record producer. Whatever the scripts that are present on the tables, they will take care of processing the ticket. Okay. And yeah, so these are the differences. Okay. So with this, we are good with the record producers as well. Let's go to other topic. So we'll talk about the SLAs. Service level agreements. Anybody came across SLAs? The people who are already working on ServiceNow? Right. So SLAs are the timelines, okay, which are defined. SLAs are the timelines which are defined in order to complete the task. So SLAs are the timelines which are defined in order to complete the task. So where will the SLAs generally be applied and what are these timelines, right? How can they be applied onto the tickets? So we'll see that. So SLAs are generally applied onto the incident tickets. Okay. SLAs are applied onto the incident tickets. So SLAs are applied onto the incident ticket. So people who are already working on the support, so they should be having idea. So if they are working on incident tickets, they will have familiarity on the SLAs. Okay, so we'll see in detail about what are these SLAs. First, we'll see some theory about this SLA. So few popular questions could be asked in certification as well. So types of SLAs. So there are three types. One is SLA, other is OLA, and next is underpinning contracts. So these are the three types of SLAs. So generally, SLA is the timeline agreement in order to complete the task. Say, for example, you are given a work in the project. So you're given a work in the project and you will be given some timeline to complete that work, right? Maybe 1 day, 2 days. So there will be some timeline to complete the task. You cannot take as much as time you want. So there will be some timeline for every task that you work on. Getting? So that timeline is nothing but an SLA. 1 day, 2 day is nothing but an SLA, service level agreement. So generally, every work that you do will have some timeline. Okay. So here also, who is going to give the timeline and how are the timelines decided? Okay. So we'll talk about that. In the organization, when a project is started or onboarded from the client, there will be some agreements. Okay. That's called sign off work. So during that sign off work, so there will be some agreements made between the client and the company. So between your client and your company. So whenever there is some work related to the incidents, so there will be some timelines given. So incidents, basically they have some priority. Priority 1 incident, priority 2 incident, priority 3 incident, priority 4 incident, and then priority 5 incident, like that. So these priorities will define how much time should be taken for the work. Say, for example, the use case something like this. Application is running very slow, and then users are facing a lot of issue with the application, and because of which they are not able to work at all. Right? So this issue has to be addressed. Right? So without making application up, nobody will be able to work properly, because of which the business is affected. So in order to fix this issue, there will be some incident ticket created, and since this is a high priority issue, the priority of the incident will be high or critical. So do you think that this issue can be resolved as much as time that you can take, basically? So this issue should be resolved within a dedicated timeline. Okay, so because this is very critical and it is very urgent to be resolved, so that should take less amount of time because based on its urgency. Getting it? So if this is a low priority issue, then it can take more time. But if this is a high priority issue, then it should be resolved within short duration of time. Then only the users can use the application and they can work on the business requirement. Getting it? So the timeline will be very less for the priority or critical issues, and the timeline will be more for non-critical issues. Getting it? So same case here also. For example, you are using a bank account, right? And there is some unusual transaction happened on your account, and you observed it and you called to the bank, and banking team raised some ticket. Okay, so should that bank take as much as time they can? No, there will be some dedicated timelines. So since this is a unusual transaction, so the timeline will be very less in order to fix it. Getting it? So depends upon the urgency and the criticality of the issue, the timeline will be defined. Getting it? So whenever there is a project sign of work is going on, that time the agreements will be made. How much timeline should be taken for each priority tickets? All those agreements will be made between the company and the client. So the in the agreements it will be clearly mentioned that priority 1 critical tickets should take 4 hours of time, priority 2 should take 8 hours of time, priority 3 tickets should take 2 days of time, priority 4 tickets can take 4 to 5 days, priority 5 and above can take more time. So these agreements will be made during the sign of work. So that is actually followed when you work in the project. Getting it? So this is called SLAs, service level agreements. Getting it? Anybody has any questions here? So the timelines based upon the priority of the tickets is called SLAs. Anybody has any questions? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Others? Murali, Sai, Deepika, Shiv Shankar, Kavita. Please respond.
Yes, sir. Clear.
So SLAs means timelines. So that's the only keyword that you should remember. So SLAs are again different types that they are. First type is SLA, second is OLA, third is underpinning contract. SLA, it's nothing but the timeline between the company and the client. Company and the client. So the timelines will be a little more, okay, when it comes to SLAs, because the timelines agreed between the company and the customer. So for example, if you're not able to complete the work on time, what's going to do? What's going to happen basically? So even that will be discussed. Okay. So if you're not able to complete the or resolve the ticket within the timeline, there will be separate discussion on separate escalation on that. Okay. So your manager will be answerable for the tickets which did not complete within the timelines. So there will be some compensation from the company to the client if there are more SLAs breached. So if you're not able to, if the tickets are not completed or resolved on time, then that is called SLA breach. SLA breach. Okay. If the tickets are not closed within the timelines, then SLAs are SLAs are said to be breached. Okay, so this word is very important. SLA breach. So people will generally say security breach, right? So whenever there is some security violation, people will say there is a security breach. So here also SLA breach. So whenever there is an SLA breach, then there will be some compensation. So that will be discussed during the sign of work. So for what priority the SLAs are breached, what compensation, how can we handle such things? All those things will be handled separately. Okay. So as a developer, as a support person, your job is to make sure like the SLAs are not breached on the tickets, right? So SLAs, first type of SLA. So it is the agreements or the timelines agreed between the company and the organization. And second is OLA. OLA is nothing but operational level agreements. Is it operational or organizational? Just let me check. Right, operational level agreement. So operational level agreement. For example, there is some you're working in the support project, okay, and you're working on the incidents, and on one fine day you are assigned with a priority 1 critical ticket, and it is assigned to you, right? So there's a priority critical 1 ticket and it is assigned to you. So you are supposed to work on it and you have to fix the issue. It could be any issue on the service node. So you're assigned with the ticket and you're supposed to fix it. So timeline started 4 hours timeline for the priority 1 critical issue. So timeline started and you are working on it. Getting it? So actual timeline is 4 hours, but your manager will not give you 4 hours of time. He'll push you. He'll push you to complete within 3 hours. Okay. So entire timeline will not be given to you. Only 3 hours will be given to you. So 3 hours is nothing but internal timeline. Internal timeline. Getting it? So that internal timeline within the organization is called OLA. And remaining 1 hour will be used for other activities like bridge calls. So to connect with the other teams in order to work on the issue, right? To attend the meetings and to compose the emails and to have a bridge connect with other teams. So remaining time, 1 hour time will be used for such regular activity, but 3 hours will be dedicated for fixing the issue. So that 3 hours is called OLA. Internal timeline is called OLA. Internal timeline is called OLA. Underpinning contracts. Underpinning contracts. So the SLA is between the company and the vendor. So there will be some vendors supporting the organization, maybe in the hardware, or software, right? So for example, servers or the databases, if they are physical servers, so say for example, some machines are used to store some data, right? Hardware machines. So there is some hardware problem, okay? At the database level, there is some hardware problem. So the vendor who is supporting the hardware, they have to come and fix the issue. Getting it? So vendor is from outside. So that team should come and fix the issue. They're not within the organization, they are out of the organization. So for them, there will be separate timeline. Getting it? So because they're not part of organization, there will be separate timeline for them. So the timelines across the company and the vendors is called underpinning contracts. Getting it? So OLAs are internal agreement, internal timelines. Underpinning contracts are the timelines with external vendors, and SLAs are the agreements between the company and the customer or the client. Clear? Everybody clear? So we'll talk more about this SLAs the next class. So this is about the theoretical idea. So the mostly the popular question in the certification is SLA, OLA, and underpinning contract. What are the three types? So these are the three types. Getting it? So this question can be expected in the certification. Any questions today?
Nothing.